It's one of the toughest race circuits in the country, and what a place to start the Ultimate Karting Championship. Let's go into the senior Rotax grid, and it's very competitive in the top 10. Jamie Rogers for KR Sport, alongside Lorenzo Cordell, who has stepped up to senior Rotax, and is doing an amazing job already. Sam Hawthorne and Sam Gornall will share the second row. Louis Harvey for Argenti Motorsport alongside Stephen Napier. Then Ethan Ling, the highly rated privateer, alongside Jamie Perrelli for Project One. His teammate Ryan Willis will be P9. And the number 9 seed, Chris Miller, the highly rated privateer, rounding out the top 10. On row 6, it's Louis Weaver and Maciek Amera for KR Sport, Rhys Duffy of Saltire and Lucas Ellingham of Jack Dex Racing. Jensen Watson, Tommy Edmonds from Oscar Houle and Jordan Morris. Kian Tassang will line up alongside Brandon Klein-Nagelvort, who's already had his back to the wall for a lot of the weekend. There's a few drivers outside the top 20 to keep an eye on here as well, as there are a few starting out of position, most notably Caden McQueen and Teddy Pritchard-Williams. They are outside the top 20. They'll want to charge their way through. So too will Tristan Rennie and Oliver Meadows for Argenti Motorsport. Bringing up the back of the grid, it's Doughty, Moody, Smith and Baker. After the break, we'll race. Welcome back to Wilton Mill for the Formula Fans Ultimate Karting Championship 2022 kickoff, and this is the Senior Rotax final. Jamie Rogers on the pole, Lorenzo Cordell alongside. And as they go along the tram lines on the straight, we are going to go racing up to the first corner, into Crook and through Oblivion. We ride on board with Caden McQueen, who's got a lot of homework to do here to charge his way back through the field. He's already dueling away there with Casper Scusa, and that is the 88 of Cameron Crockett. He goes the long way round, and he's also going to take on Jamie Mead on the DSM Alonso chassis. How about that? A few places made up already. And to the right, it's a little bit of a moment for Tristan Rennie. He's going to lose some ground. We tuck our way through Ashby, and we are just finding place after place after place. McQueen is carving his way through the field.
Caden McQueen, what a start from 26 on the grid. He's already made up, what, that's got to be at least 10 places. So he's up to into the top 16.
Yeah, he's had a very tricky weekend up to this point so far. He's had a couple of race wins taken off him for various different problems. One was a front fairing, and the other one was a bit of a technical infringement. So all kinds of problems. Look how greasy it is still as they come off the heel of the boot onto the main straight. You can see a big tank slapper coming in there from Ethan Ling as he went up to Christmas. We're back on board with Caden. That is Thomas Wood to our right, and we are boxed in. There's not a lot we can do as we close up on Kian Tassang, and off goes Wood. That is a big moment for him. Here comes Rhys Duffy to the inside line into Ashby, but Caden McQueen isn't going to give him a lot of space, but he has to in the end as Teddy Pritchard-Williams squeezes back through. That's very rare to see Caden McQueen losing places at Wilton Mill. He normally charges his way through, and this is going to be a tricky one as Duffy loses ground again. And it's not going to be like this all the way through this race. The circuit is still very tricky to find grip.
Ethan Ling with the fastest lap last time round. Caden McQueen lost 2 and then made 1 back, and Pritchard-Williams went through on Rhys Duffy as well.
Oh, look, there's still a big amount of water there on the far side of the course. There's been rain, a little bit lackadaisical all the way through the race day here, and there's still patches of water at various points of the course while they're all on slicks. McQueen dives on the inside at Christmas. Nice move on the inside of Tommy Edmonds and the 11 of Alexander Baker. A lot of the action in the midfield in this early phase of the race, but it's these two out front. Sam Hawthorne leads the way. Ethan Ling in second position. Pritchard-Williams and McQueen, they bang wheels, and Pritchard-Williams has to go wide. That was a bit cheeky from Caden McQueen, but he does not do anything other than pure ruthless efficiency as he goes through the field. Here we are. Hawthorne versus Ling, and look at the gap they've already made up on Sam Gornall, who's in P3, then Cordell, Rogers, Napier, Perrelli, Willis, Harvey and Weaver. And this is going to be Ethan Ling's opportunity into Christmas. Does he go for it? No, he's going to hang back, wait for his opportunity. It's still very early doors to go ugly on the inside line, and it's always more preferable to be the man in second position at this stage of the race, letting the leader do all the hard work.
Yeah, these two don't need to do anything silly. They've got this race tied up 1 and 2, basically. If they just keep working together like this, they will finish 1 and 2. Not sure what order they'll be in at the end, but all they need to do is just follow each other round for the rest of the race until there's maybe 2 or 3 laps to go. Then they can start battling. They don't want to do anything silly at this stage.
Sam Gornall, P3, doing a very consistent job all the way through the weekend. He's actually got himself a little bit of breathing space now over Cordell, Willis and Ellingham. Lucas Ellingham charging his way through the field. It's great to see him making some progress. And I think we've had a spin. I think Brandon Klein-Nagelvort has had a moment elsewhere on the circuit. He's suddenly plummeted his way down the order. There's Chrissy Miller in front of us. We're back on board with Caden McQueen. as he skates his way out of Inkermans up towards Ashby. A dive up the inside. You can see how muddy it is still offline. Our camera is absolutely splattered.
Jamie Rogers with the fastest lap last time round, so Rogers is on the move. Sam Gornall is on the move as well, Jake. He's got space behind, so he can concentrate on the two in front, and that gives him a significant advantage. He can judge his braking on what they are doing, and look at that, he is definitely getting closer, Sam Gornall.
So this is now Ethan Ling trying to put pressure on Sam Hawthorne. A long fine lady up Manuel's bank. A little bit of an adjustment there for Sam Hawthorne as he moves to cover the engine a little bit there. They've got a little bit of tape that they can use to cool the engine down or heat it up depending on what they need. And that little dash on the steering wheel can give them an indication as to how hot the water is, what they need to adjust. So they will obviously monitor that all the way through the field. It's not just a case of put your foot down and turn the wheel. You've got to be an absolute scientist at the wheel. And Sam Gornall is chipping away.
Wow, Sam Gornall has just closed about 10 metres in one lap. He is right on them now. So it's Hawthorne from Ling and Gornall, but for how long?
Yeah, I have a feeling Gornall's going to go for it into Crook. That's going to be brave. He's made it happen. That is so brave from Sam Gornall. You don't know how much grip you're going to play with there as McQueen dives up the inside and makes another move. That is on Chris Millar. So he gets the overtaking move there, and it's the Project 1 pair making their way battling through the field. That's Ryan Willis and Jamie Perrelly as Jensen Watts clocks 45.6 for the lap. That does prove that the circuit is getting quicker all the time. There are still damp patches around the course. You can see that on the inside line on the run to what used to be known as Parker and Chapman is now known as Wilkins and Oziers. Oh, is this going to be the lead from Gornall? How has he done that in one lap? Sam Gornall goes from third to first in less than a lap. That was so impressive from Sam Gornall.
Fastest man on the track is Jensen Watts. He's down in 14th place. But he is the fastest man out there at
Not
the moment.
anymore. Caden McQueen's just banged in a 45.3, so he is cutting his way through. Lucas Ellingham has got himself over to fourth position by the look of it, past Lorenzo Cordell. There's McQueen, right tucked behind Oscar Hull. Great battles in the midfield as well. This is the run for 14th position, and there's several class acts in the field. Two carts off the road together. That is Miller and Edmonds, so they both drift off the road. Miller gets back on behind Oliver Meadows, so Meadows is chasing after Tristan Rennie, so they managed to get back in, and Alex Baker's going to pick him off, as is Matcha Camara by the look of it. Here goes Cordell on the inside of Louis Harvey. Thanks very much, mate. Into the heel of the boot, and on to the next lap he goes. 3 minutes 40 on the clock. Still plenty of race action to come. I have a feeling that we are not done yet with Sam Gornall in the lead. There goes Lucas Ellingham up to the inside line into second place, and the door is left wide open for Ryan Willis to step up the inside as well. Ethan Ling's going to get out wide, and he loses about 3 places. Poor Ethan Ling, completely hung out to dry. And Caden McQueen storms in. He's going to go right round the outside of him. I think Ethan Ling's got a problem.
Yeah, Ethan Ling must have a mechanical issue there. Not often do you have any problems with the engines, but he must have an issue.
That was contact, I think, as who was that trying to come through? Was that Jamie Rogers in the 59? I think he missed his braking point by half a metre, and he just slewed into the back of another cart there. They've managed to get out of dodge, but now we've got Sam Hawthorne, who was leading, struggling to hold up his teammate Harvey. Harvey on the inside. Lovely job. So it's Sam Gornall out in front, then it's Lucas Ellingham, Willis, Rogers, and now in fifth is number 5, Louis Harvey. He gets on the inside of Jamie Perrelly. And then it is Hawthorne and the 20 of Lorenzo Cordell with Caden McQueen on the rampage. Black flag for the 99, I'm afraid. So that is game over for Alex Moody. He is going to have to come into the pits to retire as McQueen cuts in around the outside of Jamie Perrelly. Now he's going to go for Hawthorne. Oh my word, he's just picking them off one by one like raisins. Hawthorne, a big tag slapper.
Well, Sam Hawthorne's had a great race in the early stages of this, but he's going backwards now, unfortunately. But he's got to take the positives out of the weekend. And at this stage, Jake, you've got to get the best result you can. You can't allow the red mist to descend and think, I should have been winning this. He's got to get the best result he can. He's got good points in the bag from the pre-final. He's got to get the best result he can now from this race.
Teddy Pritchard-Williams able to make up places, and there is Jensen Watts, who was setting fastest laps at one point in the race. He's trying to close ground again on Sam Hawthorne to get his way through as they go into Ashby's. And I do believe that there are some spots of rain. Yes, it is starting to rain a little bit again. You can see it on the camera lens as McQueen charges in on the inside of Caudle. Pritchard Williams goes for it as well. They bang wheels, and that looks like Jamie Perrelli taking to the grass. You can see for yourself just how treacherous the conditions are in the closing stages, as a light sprinkling of rain is going to cause all sorts of issues. Hawthorn's going to try and come back at once. Spots on the camera. You can tell a red flag. We've had an incident out on track. Red flags. So the race is going to come to a stop. There it is. There's a cart that's ended up in the barriers.
Magic Chimera, I think, Jake, on the left-hand side there as we went past. So red flag means the race is stopped. The carts will come to a stop, and then we will see what will happen. Now, looking at the time, I think the clerk of the course will call this a result.
It's going to be declared, isn't it?
I think it will.
Because there's not even 2 minutes of racing left on the timer, so I've got a feeling that red flag means we are going to have completed enough race distance that it is not going to be restartable. There is Magic Amera. He's obviously in some discomfort. Fortunately, the marshals were there very quickly. So it is a declared result, and the race win goes to Sam Gornall in front of Lucas Ellingham and Ryan Willis. Louis Harvey is going to get 4th position. Teddy Pritchard Williams in P5. Jamie Rogers in 6th from Caudle, Watts, Sam Hawthorn and Oscar Hoole. And if that race had continued, we just haven't got a clue how far through the ranks Caden McQueen could have come. He was absolutely on it. But fortunately, even though Magic Amera is in some discomfort, he is in essence okay. So that is the main thing. Sam Gornall victorious in the first Senior Rotax final of the year.
Ryan, your first experience here at the Ultimate Karting Championship, how have you enjoyed it?
I've enjoyed it very well. Quite a decent start to the weekend and pretty well.
Yeah, 68 entries in Senior Rotax, so it's a big grid. To come third, that's a great start to the championship, and it's all about points, isn't it? Just talk us through your weekend.
In the first one, it was quite good. We got first. The next two were quite bumpy. We got in a couple of collisions, but except for that, it was quite a good weekend.
Okay, well done. Who do you want to thank for your weekend?
I want to thank my dad, Project One Racing, Dean Waters, and the whole team.
Okay, well done.
Thank you.
Lucas, you're an old hand at this, but you're in X30, Rotax this weekend. Just talk us through some of the differences that you found.
Yeah, I found X30's got more top ends, which is better for the overtakes into tight corners, faster entry speeds, so you've got to press the brake harder to get the move done. Also, in the mid-range, Rotax got a lot more out the corners, so better for undercutting people and getting a better drive off the corner.
Okay, and this weekend, great start to the championship, obviously. You're an old hand, you know it's all about points. So second in a huge grid, 68 drivers, it's pretty big. What were you expecting coming in through the weekend? What were you hoping for?
Oh, it was really tough this weekend. I was really hoping to come away with a win, but unfortunately red flag stopped me from getting there to challenge for that. But yeah, it went all right. Really tough this morning when I broke down, so I ended up having to start 14th in the pre-final. Made my way through to second in that, which was good points for the start in the final. Okay, great result really for you. Who do you want to thank? I'd like to thank Jack Dex Racing, Simon Stoneham for the help off the track, Time Racing Engines for all their help with the motor, my dad for spending all the money on this.
We had a good start getting into 4th and then getting into 3rd at the end of the lap, and then caught the 2 leaders, passed them, and then just drove off, and then the race was red flagged and it just ended there. Okay, and I think it's the first weekend at the Ultimate Karting Championship for Coles Racing, so great result for them as well. Who do you want to thank for your weekend? Well, I just want to thank my mum, my dad. I want to thank Pearson Bullet Carter's family for helping me this weekend because my dad's away in America. And I also want to thank my mechanic Alex, Coles, and my 2 sponsors, Pete Marquis and Oaks Koi Farm. Okay, well done. Cheers.
Great racing from the competitors in Senior Rotax. Points are accumulated not just in the final, but over the course of the entire weekend as well. So even though Sam Gornall wins the final, he's actually dead level on points with Jamie Rogers for KR Sport. 4 points further back is Lorenzo Caudle. Another 4 is Sam Hawthorn. Then Louis Harvey, Ryan Willis, Stephen Napier, Lucas Ellingham, Jamie Perrelli and Jensen Watts are in the top 10, with Caden McQueen scratching his head in the hope he can get back into the top 10 next time out.
Join us after the break when we're back with more racing. It's the Sony Kart Academy Super Final for drivers from 8 years of age.